What's up, guys? It's Mike coming back at you with shallow reefing. Just taking apart the sump, doing some maintenance. Cleaned out the skimmer over there. It's looking good. I kind of forgot to get the neck. You can kind of see there's some buildup there. So one of the main things I wanted to do was to clean out the sump to make sure that all that extra algae and chaeto was, cleaned out. And I ripped out a bunch of rock because when I was looking at the chamber over here, you can see there's the chaeto right there. I've ripped out probably 30 pounds of live rock. It was just covered in hair algae. You can kind of see in the back corner right there, there's some hair algae down there still. So what I've done was I put a pump in here, increasing the flow, giving some agitation. Hopefully it will kind of slightly tumble the chaeto, and I won't have all this hair algae grown in here. I think there's too much stagnation and that's what caused it. Kind of cleaning up the probes. The probes are covered in coralline. Gotta push this guy down here. There we go. So one of the main things that I wanted to do was to look at the tank above. Let me just adjust this. Ah, great. There we go. It's all blued out. Well, you're gonna have to deal with it. So I moved my frag rack over into this side. Now that frag rack was previously over in the 10-gallon, and the 10-gallon was getting some hair algae in it once I started dosing more of that Part 2, or the Part C from Tropic Marin. Yeah, I noticed that there's some recession on some of my polyps. So underneath that, you can see in the back, right about there, I have a huge blasto colony, and then that is not doing well. The polyps started receding, and then my Duncan finally started coming back. So this Duncan was receded until I reduced the dose on my Tropic Marin 2-part, or actually it'd be the 3rd part, Part C, in conjunction with BRS 2-part. So I'll show you what I did to kind of make that better. So what I did was it was dosing 40 milliliters every day. Now, I did it at half the recommended dose that BRS said to do it at, and I was getting some kind of negative reactions to some of the LPS corals. I'm not quite sure why. I was hoping to get everything like stabilized before I could do the before and after pictures for introducing the Brightwell amino acids, but right now it's not looking like I'm going to do that because I actually want my results to be valid. Alright, slap the lens on, that way you can filter out the blue light. So I wanted to kind of go around and show you some of the recession that I've seen on some of my corals, especially my strawberry shortcake. So I'll go over in this bonsai acro. I don't know if you can see it very well, but you can kind of see how it's starting to kind of fade out right here. It's starting to white out a bit. At the base you can kind of see there's some discoloration there. Not sure what's going on with that. I don't know if I was overdosing the Part C or what. Now with this, my little acro island that I've gotten here, I'm going to try to zoom in on it. Yeah, of course there's that one limb. Okay, so you can see underneath the strawberry shortcake right there, there's like some sort of STNing going on. So I need to kind of figure out what to do to get that to slow before I do the Brightwell to turn it up with the amino acids. But the one thing Brightwell is saying to do is when you know it's struggling like this, you need to start putting in those aminos to help those struggling corals. So what I've done is I've done a huge 20-gallon water change. I mean, it's 20% of my system, so it's not that huge. But I've done a huge water change, and hopefully that water change will get those trace elements back into alignment. I've reduced the trace elements. I went to half concentration, which it's supposed to say on the box. I did BRS recommendation, but I did the box recommendation on the Tropic Marin Part C, and I reduced the daily dosage to only 10 milliliters. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an overview of the whole system next week, talk about everything, hopefully everything's stabled out, and then get to dosing the Brightwell aminos. So overall, the tank, it's been better. I mean, you can see the Euphilia is just insane right now, but some of the SPS is not doing too well, especially the Acropora, and you can kind of see I have Blue Anthelia kind of just everywhere down here. Probably need to get some calc paste and knock that off in the bit. But I'll come back at you next week with an update on all the changes that I've done, hopefully stabilizing it back out. Sometimes I think we try to get, you know, the perfect optimal growth, and in the process of doing that we kind of slow down the growth we already had and might hinder our system more than what we were trying to do to help it. So I'll come back at you next week.